Well, hello there. Good evening. Welcome to Mini Makes Monday. Please excuse the squeaky door. Hope this finds you well. This seems to be excuse me, slight tickle in the throat tonight. Nothing to worry about particularly, but it is Mini Makes Monday. Welcome. Just wait for some people to show up and then we will begin. So tonight on Mini Makes Monday, we are going to be making our own weaving looms. Now you can of course buy purpose-built wooden looms or plastic looms, and they come from teeny tiny, this sort of size, that you could make a little brooch or something with, right the way up to great big standing floor looms. So there's that. And what we're going to do today though is look at making a small loom using this cat food box, or you could use a small cereal box, which is something that is completely free to make. You can have a go and decide if weaving is for you. Okay, so I'm going to make a start by breaking down this cat food box. Now, if you excuse me just one moment. Hello, good evening. So, nice to see you all. Right, just starting to break down this cat food box, which is what I've decided to use. If you are just using an ordinary cereal box, then I will give you the measurements shortly. Oh, this is harder than I thought. There we are. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, excuse the squeaking of the door, the cat is trying to go out. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use one side of this to form the basis of my loom, and I'm going to use the flaps here to be the bits that I hold it all together with. So I'm just going to grab my scissors. Doesn't have to be the neatest work in the world. There we are, there's one bit done. So it's not this bit that particularly matters. Hello, welcome. Hi Jules. Hi Quick. Yeah, it was showing as offline for me as well, which was a bit confusing. But hopefully you are all okay now. So I'm using a new cereal box because I rather sensibly got rid of mine last time after our last mini make. This is actually a small cat food box, which I have picked because it's about the right sort of size. So for this loom, you don't want it to be particularly big. Hello, hi Laura. Yes, there's been some problems tonight with Twitch. It's crashed a couple of times and not let me log in, but we are now here, so welcome. So we're starting our loom. Now, as I said before, you can of course get all the technical equipment for yourself. That isn't a problem. However, I'm choosing not to. Now, what you want is a piece of card somewhere between 10 and 14 centimeters wide. This one happens to be 14, and you want it to be a little bit longer. So if it's 10 centimeters wide, you might want it 14 long. You get the idea. You then also want 2 strips of card, which are the same width as your main piece of card, but only about, well, half an inch, just over half an inch long. So these are actually going to be used to help brace everything. So I'm actually going to go ahead and fold this strip of card in half that I have got. There we are. So it's quite narrow. And I'm going to do the same with the other strip of card. And it doesn't have to be really accurate. You just need to be able to use it as a brace. I'm going to grab my sticky tape because we're not going to fuss around with glue tonight. Grab my sticky tape. I'm going to wrap it around to sticky tape the actual bits together to hold the whole thing together. Yeah, a bit late to start again tonight just because of some connectivity issues, but welcome. Hello, lovely to see you all. For those of you that don't know me, I am Gemma. I am the host of the Project Bag podcast, the dyer and maker behind the Project Bag yarns and bags, and now craft streamer, because why not? Welcome to the second Monday mini makes. The idea behind Monday mini makes is that we spend an hour just making something together. I show you some new skills hopefully, and the idea was that we did it with things that are in our home. That is even more important now that we're all on lockdown. So what I've done here is I've got a bit of a cat food box. You could use a cereal box or tissue box or something you've got to hand. It needs to be between 10 and 14 centimeters wide and 14 or 18 centimeters long. You're not necessarily going to want to cover the whole thing. If you might want to make it smaller, that's entirely up to you. You also need 2 bits of card that are the same width and about 3 centimeters about 3 centimeters wide, that you then fold in half. And I am just at this point sticky taping them together, and that's where we are. So what we're doing tonight is we're doing an introduction to weaving, and we're starting with our own homemade looms. So this is completely free. You know, it's like lots of crafts, it can be as expensive as you want to make it. You can buy all sorts of beautiful looms and equipment, all sorts of expensive fibres and yarns, but we are just playing around tonight with things that we've got at home. So you can of course chat to each other in the chat. Do have that open. If you enjoy your time with me tonight, hitting that follow button would be awesome. Helps me get seen by other people and maybe help some other people with some mini makes. Since the lockdown began, I decided to do this weekly rather than fortnightly, just to give us something to look forward to each week, something to do, and also to focus on things that you can do as grown-ups, but you might also then enjoy using with your children at home if you've got them at home at the moment, because obviously the schools are shut. So that's kind of the idea. So I now have my 2 folded over bits of card sticky taped together, and I have my main piece of card. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to attach these to my main piece of card about a centimetre and a half in. You can use Pritt stick for this if yours is strong enough. I'm actually just going to go ahead and use sellotape because I just, again, can't be bothered with the faff of trying to get the glue to stick. So go ahead and sticky tape that down. Not going to win any prizes for use of sticky tape here, are we? Being conservative. How is everyone tonight? I hope your Monday has been okay for you. Mine's been really productive. I've done some baking, done some housework, sorted out a podcast, got a few more things going up on YouTube. Incidentally, you can follow me on YouTube as well. I am the Project Bag on YouTube, have my own channel. And these mini make Mondays will also be exported there as well. So Jules, the instructions, I just got started because I wanted to. So what you need is your piece of card that is between 10 and 14 centimetres wide. Mine's 14 centimetres wide, and between 14 and 18 centimetres long. You're looking for it to be a rectangle, and then you are getting 2 other pieces of card that are the same width as your main piece of card and about 3 centimetres deep, which you then fold in half and attach to your main piece of card. So this is now what we're left with. Okay, I'm just going to try and tilt this slightly because it is, oops, there we are, it's a bit better. Right, so what we're now going to do is take our ruler, and we're going to start about 1.5 centimetres in. So a ruler and pen, and I've managed to pick a pen that doesn't work, so that's a great start. Let's try again with a different pen. We're going to start about 1.5 centimetres in. And what we're going to do, 1.5 centimetres in this way. Might be that this is just card that this won't draw on. I might grab a felt pen instead. I'm going to do it every couple of millimetres. I'm going to just put in some little lines here. So we're just going to draw some lines. These will be our cutting lines. So I'm going to start with every 0.5 centimetre. I mean, even if you can't see the lines, as long as you've scored them in and it gives you something to follow, that's what matters. Now I'm doing a really basic loom tonight. You can, of course, make your notches closer together if you like. And what we're actually doing at this point is creating the warp. So the warp is the, and this is where you can yell at the screens if I've got this back to front, but it is where you set up the loom and actually put your pieces of string across. Yes, it will come off the loom at the end. I will show you how to do that as well. And then you're going to do the same on the other side. So you turn your piece of card round, mark 1.5 centimetres in from either side. Doesn't have to be exact, and then every 0.5 centimetre draw yourself a little notch. These are just for your guides, just for guides. They're not necessarily going to be completely even. This is just for fun tonight. It's just to show you how it's done. Yeah, so there's a question in the chat, will this come off the loom at the end? Yes, it absolutely will. I haven't got a twig from my garden. I should have done that, but I'll see what I can find that's twig-like to do a demonstration of how you can frame these as well. Okay, so now what we've got is we've got our piece of card that is 14 centimetres by 18 centimetres long. We've got our 2 other strips of card that are 14 centimetres by 3 centimetres. and folded it over to make it double thickness and attached it to your main piece of card. And you've done the same at the other end. We've actually come in about a centimetre, about a centimetre, or I eyeballed it, centimetre and a half in from either end. Then we've taken our ruler, which is in centimetres, and we've marked in a centimetre and a half in from either side, and then every half centimetre, which is every 5 millimetres, we've drawn these little notches. So that is the stage we're at the moment in making our loom. It's actually a super quick and speedy craft. I taught this at the Yarn Dispensary summer school last year, and the kids absolutely loved it, and I must admit I kind of loved it too. Someone in the chat, Julia in the chat, says, hack, I've stuck a bit of square paper on the back of mine to save on measuring. If you have square paper or graph paper, that is a fantastic tip. Thanks for that, Jules. If you don't, good old ruler will do. Right, okay, so the next job is to take your scissors. We're going to completely ignore the fact that mine are the meat scissors from the kitchen, and we're going to cut up to our spare bit of card that we've stuck on, up to our folded bit of card. So we're just going to cut all the way along now. Because these are the notches that our warp will sit in, and it will hold the warp in place. If you are new here, welcome. I'm Gemma from Project Bag, and this is Mini Make Mondays, our time to just make something, kick back, try something new. Last time we did bookbinding, this time we are making our own looms. As I said, my focus has shifted. It was going to be on various different crafts, and it was going to be once a fortnight, and it was going to have, you know, a list of things to give you time to get the gear you needed. But obviously with our societal circumstances changing thanks to a certain C19, I have shifted that, so we're now doing it every week to give us something to break the time up, and I'm doing it with things that you can find around your home. I'm also, as we are in the run up to the Easter holidays, or what would have been the Easter holidays, trying to focus on things that you can do yourself as an adult, but might also enjoy doing with the wee ones at home. So tonight we are doing loom weaving and making our own looms. Now, why did I bother making our own looms when I was teaching this at the Yarn Dispensary? Simple answer is that I wanted to be able to teach children crafts, but I wanted it to be accessible for them. I didn't want to have children coming to a summer school using all this high-tech equipment, high-tech, a loom, but you know what I mean, using all of that and then going home and convincing poor mum and dad that they had to buy all this gear, which actually isn't necessary. So we decided to do it Blue Peter style and make our own looms, and it's something that the kids can then carry on with. Right, so now we're going to reach, I'm actually using string because that happens to be what I have, and we're going to start warping our loom. So what we want to do is stretch your string out so it comes to about 1 inch either side, and that is the length you want, and that is where you're going to cut your string. Now you could be using yarn, you could be using thread, you could be using embroidery silks, whatever it is you want to use is absolutely fine for this. Hello Helen, Helen's popped into the chat. Do chat to one another as well, introduce yourselves. You don't just have to chat with me. If you're watching this on YouTube, that'll be a bit confusing for you because you won't be able to see the chat, and I do apologise about that. I'm getting lots of messages and notifications now, so that's the vibrating. I'm sorry for that. Laura says, thank you so much for this. I've had an awful afternoon and I'm feeling relaxed already. I am so sorry to hear that you've had such a rotten afternoon, my love. But welcome, and I'm glad that I can be of some service and help relax you this evening. Do feel free to hit follow, give me a follow. It just helps me get seen and helps me bring this to other people. Also, it, you know, kind of makes me feel better. If you choose to follow me, that'd be awesome. You just have to click the little love heart. You've been here ages, but apparently you were invisible. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Helen. I hope you've had a good day. Are you making a loom along with us tonight, or are you... So you can see what I'm doing is I'm just holding the string up against itself rather than keeping on measuring. It's just easier. So you're going to need quite a few bits of string here. I'll show you my basket of goodies in a moment. Oh, goodness me. Sorry about all the vibrating. I should have turned the notifications off. But I didn't realise I was going to be streaming from my phone. I thought I was going to be streaming from the computer. But there we go, high tech. If you've just joined me and have missed some of this, I will whiz through the steps again for you shortly. But this video will be on YouTube by about Wednesday. I'm slightly croaky today, but I'm okay. And I hope you are too. Has anyone done anything like this before? Are you here because you know what we're making and you're interested, or you just stumbled across me? What is the plastic on the table with the fringe cut material? Ah, right, hello, you're not late at all, don't worry. Don't worry, there's been some problems with Twitch tonight. Right, so I'm just going to cut a few more bits of this thread, my love, and I'll whiz you through. Actually, while you guys are cutting your thread, I'll whiz you through. So this is part of a cereal box. I'm using a cat food box. It is 14 centimetres wide, 18 centimetres long. Then I've cut from the top of the cat food box, which would be the flap of your cereal box. I've cut those strips off. They're about 3 centimetres long and 14 centimetres wide. I've folded them in half. I've used sellotape to stick them together, to stick it together in half, and then I've attached it to the main piece of card using sellotape. Then what we did is we took our ruler and we measured 1.5 centimetres in from either side to give us something to hold on to. And then with the pens, we marked every 0.5 centimetre. Then we took our scissors and snipped along each marking up to the level of this folded over piece of card here. Okay, we did that all the way along. Now what we're doing, sorry if I'm rushing this, I'm just trying to catch you up, is we're cutting pieces of string or thread or ribbon or whatever you're choosing to use that's about 1 inch longer either side than your loom. He said womb, that's different. Not looming along, but I may well steal your idea in the future. Interesting to see that you were using Roz's favourite cereal. Oh, yeah. No, that's actually Dreamies, you see. So for those of you that don't know, some people who are popping in, we actually know each other in real life through the yarn shop that I run. And one of my friends, who's also a staff member, famously was watching TV, mindlessly put her hand down into the box of chocolates and ended up munching on some Dreamies. I'm sure lots of people have done that before. So I'm just going to show you, in case people are ahead of me, what your next step is. All you're going to do is bring your piece of string and tuck it into the notch. So it will, there we go. So it sticks out at the back like that. Okay, and that is what we're going to do to warp our loom. These are our warp threads. When I was a kid, my dad made me a wooden loom with nails. That is awesome. You are very lucky, very lucky. See, my first experience with weaving was actually when I was teaching this to the summer school. Last year. I was very keen to try it. Excuse the vibrating, I'm so sorry. I can't do anything about that at the moment while we're actually live. I will try and make sure that is not happening next time. Hang on. Let's see if I can do anything about it. There you go. I think I might have fixed it. There we are. There we are. Right. Okay, so busy preparing our warp now for our loom. I am quite tempted to get a loom, but I just think there's going to be, there are so many crafting rabbit holes you can fall down. The idea behind this tonight is that obviously we can have a go at something even though we're stuck indoors, just with things we've got in the house. This is actually string that I bought to for my husband to do enrichment at his work, and I've used it to tie my roses up and things like that. So it's just something that we had lying around. You could of course just use ordinary thread. I haven't got anywhere near enough bits yet, have I? I'm going to start warping these up so I've got an idea of how many I need to do. So yeah, about 1 inch either side. Doesn't have to be exact. Oh, look, I've missed one. That needs to go in there. There we go. This is actually quite thick, I think, for this. But we'll see. It's just an experiment at this point. Just an experiment. Doesn't have to be exact. I'm actually going to use all sorts of different threads and fabrics and things for my one. Yeah, these aren't spreading out particularly well, it has to be said. You can see there is a bit of a gap in mine, but I've obviously not measured it quite right at one end. But that's okay, we can live with that. So all I'm doing now is just tucking the string into the notches and folding it down behind. And that one does not want to stay for some reason. Come here, little annoying piece of thread. Yeah. Now I think that perhaps what I'm using might be a bit thick for this because it isn't wanting to stay. I'm just going to go ahead and start securing this on the back. Start securing it already, just to make sure these warp threads don't run off with me. Ideally you should be probably using something a little bit thinner than string. You know, a nice 4-ply yarn or something would probably do the trick. But yeah, there you go. That's looking a little bit better. So I just need to keep that going now. It's a great thing to do with kids. I did it with, as I said, with the Yarn Dispensary Summer School, and I think the children that I had who came along were, oh good crumbs, how old were they? They were, just going to adjust my notch slightly, 5, 7 and 10. So good range. You see, this isn't particularly even. I'm using thicker cardboard and warping with 4-ply, and it is coming out amazing. Good, good. I must admit, the one I did before came out a lot better than this. I do think it's because I'm using string. What I might do is do the rest with 4-ply and see what happens at the other end. Let's get some 4-ply out. Let's see what happens to that then. Yeah, I like that better already. 4-ply cotton is working well. Yeah, I did think 4-ply might work. I just wanted to try it with the string because I thought that's something that more people might have, because I know we're not all knitters here or crocheters. Yeah, look, that's already much better. I kind of want to redo it now, but I don't know how much time I've got really to start redoing it. And I think this yarn was actually meant to be a pair of socks, but hey ho, I'm sure it won't matter if I steal a little bit of it for this. Yeah, that's already much better. Right, okay, decision made. String's coming off. String's coming off. I mean, you might want your notches to be a bit closer together. It's entirely up to you. I'm quite happy with this at the moment, just for sake of demonstrating. Last time I did it, I actually used, what was the thread? It was the thread that was recommended. It was a DMC thing, I think, but cost a small fortune in Hobbycraft. And that's not the idea, really. Certainly not the idea tonight. But yeah, look, that is much more even now, using that rather than the string. You're getting the idea. So this takes quite a while to do. It's a bit fiddly. You want to just make sure, God, those scissors are annoying me the way they're rattling. You want to make sure you've got an evenish amount either end poking through, and that will be important later when it comes to getting your work off the loom, because we will be taking it off at some point. So there we are. That's already looking a bit better. Great. Let's just snip those bits off. Right, I'm going to go ahead and snip some more thread for my loom. It was quite sweet because when I taught this at the Yarn Dispensary Summer School, I ended up teaching how to use a ruler as well, and what the little notches, like the little lines on the ruler meant, because depending how old the children were, they haven't quite got to that stage, which was kind of cute. This is great for me, guys, doing this, because it actually gives me makes me sit down and do something creative for myself as well, rather than working, because even working from home, there's an awful lot of working that you can do. How are you getting on now, everyone? Am I going too fast? Are we all right? It should be about the right pace, I would have thought. I want to go a little bit quicker than we did last week, just so we can get on to the really fun part, which is the actual weaving itself. You can see this is looking so much better for doing it this way. Now you see why we didn't want anything too wide, because it takes even longer to warp up and longer to weave. Now, the reason I've gone for 1/2 centimetre notches is because I didn't know what everyone would be bringing along. Well done, ladies. I am obviously a little bit behind because I started again. but I'm much happier with this now. I mean, I know this is just for fun, but is that the notch I adjusted? That might be. One of these notches I adjusted part way up and it might not work quite as well. There we are. I'm nearly there. I've nearly caught up to you all again. I'm going to get to my bit of loom that I can't use. Let's see if I've managed to cut enough threads. Probably not. I think I might be just a couple short. Very nearly there. One, I think 3 I need, 2. No, I've got a knot in my yarn. It might just have to go with this and have the last 2. Brilliant. Well done those people who have finished. As I said, I was faffing around and starting again. I need one of these here's one I made earlier things really, don't I? But I thought it was more fun to make together. Right, so if you turn it over, you will see obviously you've got your threads there. You're just going to go ahead and gather them up, give them a little bit of a tug, not too much, just to pull them taut. Okay. And then we're not going to do anything to knot them just yet, but we are going to make sure they're pulled taut, and we're going to sellotape them in place here, just to give it something to help it stay. Okay, and we're going to do the same the other side, and then you'll be able to see when we turn it back what the function of that original piece of card I got you to stick down was. Okay. Right. Okay, so that should be fairly taut now. And you can see, if I turn it up like that, you should be able to see the function of these little bits of card here. They are to raise your warp up just slightly and enable you to move your thread in and out of the loom easily. So there we go. You've made your loom, you've warped your loom. So now the next thing to do is to start actually weaving. Now, if you have a darning needle, that is really useful. If you don't, it's a little bit more fiddly, but you can cope. It's definitely doable. Excuse the noise behind me. The cat has decided that he wants to sit in my camera bag. Now, what I've got here is a basket of bits that I just pulled together. I've got all sorts of things. I've got some embroidery silks, which are quite fun to use. I've also got some actual fabric that I'm planning on shredding, nice satin. And the cat is now eating his biscuits really noisily. Thanks for that, mate. I've got some Christmas ribbon. And I've got various bits of yarn and also some roving. Because I'm just going to have a play around and show you the sorts of things you can do. I'm not actually going to do a design today. Okay, but that's my basket of goodies. I'm going to put that to one side. I'm going to ask the cat nicely to stop crunching his biscuits. Also, they're not yours. You had your dinner, greedy guts. He's stealing from his brother. It's so rude. And so now this is the fun part. Now we're going to just start the weaving. The main kind of bit of teaching the skill is done, essentially. So I'm going to start with this Aran weight yarn that I have left over. Cut a couple of lengths off of it. And weaving itself is dead simple. Now I haven't brought a darning needle with me. I'm just going to roll this up and create a little tab that I can pull it through with some sellotape. And you're going to start by going under and over and under and over, and that's what we're going to do all the way along. So you go under one thread, over the next, under one thread, over the next, and you do that all the way along. So if you had a darning needle, you'd kind of be using that almost as your shuttle. Under and over, all the way along. There we go. Okay, and I'm just going to pull that through almost to the end. I'm going to leave a little bit out the side. I'll explain why later. And now we're going to do the same going backwards, but if we finished, I finished going over, so that means I've got to start by going under, otherwise I will basically just undo everything I've done. So I'm starting under, over, under, over, under, over, under, and start pulling that through because it makes it easier to work with. Okay, and keep going right to the end. I'm just going to stop that cat from stealing his brother's dinner again. If you're not careful, I'll put you in the other room with the dog. Look, we're busy. Look what we're doing. Sitting on my lap is not the best of ideas. Right, I now have a cat assistant who is not doing a brilliant job of being helpful. Right, go on, down you go. Down you go. Right, stop stealing food. You'll get fat. Right, okay. And that's not shaming him. He actually was poorly because he got quite chubby before. And he's straight back in that food. I'm so sorry about this. Hang on. Oh, ow, my knee. If in doubt, take it away from them. Okay, so how are we doing with our weaving? What have you chosen to work with tonight? If you are watching this on YouTube later, I apologise. This is a live stream and therefore I am chatting with people in real time, but you cannot see that on the screen. This is some Aran weight yarn I got in a Christmas box, or no, it was a fireworks box from Truly Hooked, who is an indie dyer and a very good friend of mine. Now I'm doing this and I'm now thinking a kind of stormy seascape could be quite good fun to try and create with this. So we end with an over, and you can go back again if you want. I'm actually going to, just to keep everything nice and secure. So the next thing to do is, you can see I've got whacking great gaps here, is actually just tuck them down. On a big loom you would have like a comb and you would use it to pull the threads tightly together, but on this kind of just hobby thing, just for fun. So we're going to do the same. I finished with an over, so I've started by going under and then over and then under. So you're just always working in the opposite way to the way you just have. Never work with animals, that's what they say. And I'm not actually trying to work with him, and he is being a pain in the bum. And it doesn't really matter what you choose to use. You can use anything, really, as long as you can weave with it. It doesn't have to be all the same. You can do mixed media, do different types of fabric, and different types of yarn. I've got different thicknesses here. At the moment I'm working with Aran. I could work with 4-ply, I could work with lace. I'm going to work with some roving, as you've seen, for spinning. So yeah, what do you guys think you're going to do in the chat? Are you just going to play around and see what takes your fancy? Or have you got designs in mind already? Have you started thinking about the bigger picture, the end game, as 'twere? Now, okay, so that is just going along in a fairly bog standard ordinary straight line. I will hold it up a bit closer to the camera so you can see it a bit better. Yeah, fairly bog standard straight line. What you can do is then start to create images using different bits. 10 rows of weaving the warp yarn so it looks neat. No idea what I'm going to do after that. I'm holding 4-ply double and I just like plain stripes. Yeah, I mean, plain stripes would be absolutely beautiful. I'm just going to go ahead and show you some other techniques if you wanted to get all artistic with it, which is a bit like short row shaping in knitting. So you could start, I'm thinking I want this to be a stormy sky, and therefore I would like some clouds. So I'm going to make sure I've got room to put the roving in. I'm going to think about where I want the roving to go, that fibre to go, and I'm going to think about what shape I want my clouds to have. So I'm going to go just halfway. And I've gone over halfway. I'm going to start going back again now. Oh, thank you, Quick, pointing out that I've got 8 followers. Thank you very much to everyone who's followed me. That is absolutely awesome. I do hope that you are enjoying yourself with me tonight and enjoying this little experiment. Getting it off the loom is the next thing to do. I'm really loving this fabric actually with the Aran. Let me just hold that up and you can see I'm really enjoying that. I almost don't want to do anything artistic with it, but I do want to show you guys. How it works. So again, I'm not going as far as I did last time with that. Oh no, look, Look what I've done. I've managed to start going the same way. How have I managed that one? I've gone under 2. That's what I've done. Right, let's take that back and undo what I've just done. I needed to go over that one and under that one. I would absolutely love to see what you guys do with this. Please do send me photographs, tag me on Instagram with the project bag, and use the hashtags Monday Mini Makes. And Isolation Along to share what you are making. And if you're having fun, then I really do hope you consider giving me a follow and possibly, you know, telling your friends. Get more people to join in next week. And I've decided, when I've decided what we're making next, I have to have a think and see what we're going to do next. Oh, look, I've done it again. I've done exactly the same as I did before. I've managed to go under 2. I need to pay attention, don't I? Goodness. So anyone think they might do this with their little ones at home, or is this just going to be some quiet time? It's a great way to use up scraps. I mean, I had no idea what to do with this Aran yarn. There's not a lot there. I made a hat for a friend for her birthday last year. Oh no, year before. Last year we went to dinner. Oh, I've done it again. Gemma, stop going under too many. I really need to pay attention. This is not good. I mean, if I'm honest, I would recommend using a darning needle. I'm just trying to do it without to show you the different ways you can do it. So if I'm going to stop there for the moment, because what I'm going to do is actually start pushing this in and adding some roving. Now, roving is spinning fibre. Basically, it is fleece that has been treated and carded and brushed and combed out, and I think this will work really well to use as like clouds. So I'm just going to start at this end, and I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm just going to draw it through. This is my first time weaving with roving, and already I've pulled one of my warp threads loose, so I'll have to sort that out. This is a complete and utter experiment, so it may not work at all. On the other hand, it could work brilliantly. We shall see which one it is. I'm just going to have to do a quick loom repair. Just dropped your weft in your gin. No! Oh, you're going to do it at brownies. Awesome. I'm just going to use my pen to help me out here. I mean, I could be totally wrong here. This could be a totally unmitigated disaster. Or it could be brilliant. Sorry, I know I've gone really quiet now, but concentration. I've also got my tongue stuck out. Now, you say that, but actually it was the boys that really enjoyed it the most when I did it with at summer school for the yarn dispensary. They got the most into it. I don't know, I think it just felt like something that wasn't too babyish for them, I guess. Something's gone a bit wrong at this end here somewhere. Right, so that one should be under, then that one should have been over. Right, okay, so that's what's gone wrong. That one's over. Let's go this way. Let's undo it and go this way. Fix it from this end instead. It's a bit fiddly, I'm not going to lie, but doing it like this with the roving, I've never tried it before. It's a bit of an experiment, but you know, I think that's gone quite well, all things considered. I just need to try and spread these out a bit. But you can see I've got my cloud coming now in here. Outdoor classroom day, I can see that going down well there as well. I'm stretching my warp within an inch of its capacity now, I think. But we'll keep going and see what happens. Now, I don't really want to do any more than that with the cloud, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tuck it under itself and tuck it in there. You could do all sorts of things with this. We could have plaited it and that would have looked quite nice, but I want to keep it a bit more simple. I've pulled that quite tight, so I think really what I need to do is just loosen it off a bit. It's all got a bit involved in itself, but it does show you how you can play around with texture as well. So yeah, there we go. There's my bit of cloud with my stormy sky. I actually think I've done far too much there, so I'm probably gonna untuck that bit, whip that bit out again, because I don't like it. And that's, you know, one thing with hand weaving like this, is that you can absolutely do that if you decide that what you've done is not what you want. So I'm just gonna take this way and go back and fill in the gaps. Right, let's have a look at the chat. Prepping me for when I'm doing it at Brownies. Just dropped the weft in my drink. Oh dear, whoops. It might make it stick better. I'll probably do it with my littlest small. Doubt my boy small would want to. Could be great to do with foraged bits of tree or grass. Yes, exactly. And that is one of the things that you can do to create a wall hanging with this. You can actually use a twig. Or I suppose you could use knitting needles, something like that. But yeah, I'm just going to encourage the fluff to move down so I can continue to weave using this stuff and hopefully sort the warp out a bit in the process, because it has got a little bit confused. Right, it's got to go over that one and under that one. Yeah, I think things have got a little bit confused while I've been doing this one. Over that one, under that one. It's starting to even out a bit more now. Over, under, over. And back the other way. Yeah, I mean, if I'm honest, I prefer the standard weaving to the weaving with the roving. But I did just want to show you the different sorts of things you could do with it. I say I've also got this bit of ribbon here that you can do it with. Exactly the same principle. You just go over and under and drop the ribbon. You could use thicker bits of cord. Honestly, you can use whatever you want for this, and create whatever you want. I'm actually going to go ahead and take out this roving because this just isn't for me. It's just not what I want to do. I would rather spin with it. I tried it and it was fun. We're actually going to be stopping within the next 15 minutes, and I will endeavour, if I can, to show you how to take it out, so you have a usable. Oh dear me, what has happened to my warp while I've been busy doing that with the roving? I've got it into all sorts of trouble. There we are. So I'm going to take this opportunity to just pull my warp tight again. You can see there are some bits of warp that have suffered somewhat. Just try and find the one that's actually loose. So far I've pulled both ones around it and not the actual one I want. There we go. Yeah, so I'm just trying to help my poor warp recover from what I've put it through with that roving. I mean, I guess it just doesn't lend itself to being redone, but that's okay. This was an experiment and that's just fine. I'm fine with that. But yeah, so I'll do a few more rows and then I'll show you what to do to actually take it off. One of the methods to take it off. There are a few things you can do. It won't surprise you to hear. Just try and undo this a bit. Hello, some more people joining us. You've joined us at the point where we are just doing some weaving on our handmade looms using bits that we found around the home. This is quite a therapeutic thing. It's good to do with scraps and bits of random material, and doing it with cardboard. You can do it with the smalls, with the kiddies, and it won't cost the earth as well. Got something to keep them occupied during this strange time we find ourselves in. Now I'm really regretting using this roving now because it's all the fluff's got stuck to everything. I'm trying to just undo what I've done so I can, there we are. There we are. Right. I'm trying to undo it so that I can actually carry on with normal weaving, which is what I would rather do. But yeah, so yeah, guys, if you're watching and you're enjoying, you know, give me a follow. Come and by clicking the little heart button in the top corner. Maybe come along and see me on Instagram. I also have a podcast, so we're also on YouTube, and that is where you will find this full video. So if you have missed some of today's mini make. You will find it all on YouTube on about Wednesday, or you know, all things going well. You know, that does rely a lot on the technology gremlins behaving themselves and not being too gremlin-y. I do suffer from the gremlins on the old YouTubes, and yeah, so if everything plays ball and everything behaves itself, then yeah, that's what will be happening. Right, there we are. That's my loose bit. I need to just add some more sellotape to that. So always remembering under, over. And if you're not sure what you should be doing, then just have a look at what you've done on the row below, because you should be doing the opposite. There we are. And just push it along to join the thread there. Do the same the other way. And it makes a bit of a change if you are a knitter or crocheter and you've got scrappy yarn around. It does make a bit of a change doing something like this than doing, say, a Cozy Memories or a granny stripe blanket or a northeasterly or whatever, or northwesterly, whatever it is. Whatever you want to do, this is just something a little bit different. Dirt cheap and easy to do, and quite satisfying and therapeutic, and getting it neat. I'm very glad I swapped to do it with 4-ply rather than string. I mean, of course it does work with string, but you need a bit more robust card. Maybe I should have had 2 bits of card stuck together if I was going to do it with string. But yeah. Just starting to pull it all together a little bit. Just do a couple more rows and then I will show you how to take, in theory, I'll show you how to take this off. It could go one of 2 ways. It could go really well or it could go really badly. And this is me, so all bets are off, to be honest with you. Now, which one's the outer one? That one. I really like the texture you get with this as well, the kind of bumpy texture of a weave. How are you all getting on in the chat with your own looms? I keep saying I'll do just a couple more and then I'll be able to show you how to take it off. Partly it's because I just want to carry on. I just want to do a few more rows. Just one more row, just one more row. Slow progress, but I love it. Oh, good, good. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not a quick craft, this one. I mean, obviously it'd be quicker if you used a smaller bit of loom. I made the mistake when I taught this at summer school. I made quite a big one, so I would suggest no more than sort of 10 by 14 centimeters, to be honest. If you can hear that beeping, it's just Discord going in for another stream. Okay. Oh, I'm really scared about doing this next bit live on the stream, but I'm absolutely terrified this next bit's going to go wrong. But oh, just look at how pretty this hand-dyed yarn looks woven. Can we just take a bit of moment to appreciate that? That colour is just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I don't want to take it off. I want to carry on. No! How are we doing for time? 9:15 almost. Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap this up, I'm afraid, folks. But I don't want to. I want to carry on. No. Any suggestions for next time? Would you like to try a different paper craft? Would you like to see some embroidery? Do some embroidery together? I had planned to make a little... I could show you how to make a scissor cozy. I mean, you might need some, but not everyone will necessarily have all the stuff for that around the home. I was thinking about doing a terrarium one week. You'd love embroidery. Cool, that is awesome. Well, we'll start simple. I'll start with some red work, and then we will go on to do some more technical stitches. We'll do a little sampler together over a couple of weeks perhaps, but yeah, I'm just going to keep going until this bit of thread's done. I'm sorry guys, I know I said I'd show you how to take it off, and I will, but I want to get this bit of, let me just get this bit of thread done. That's where I'll get to, then I'll stop, but it's so satisfying, isn't it? I mean, seeing it all come together, it's such fun, this weaving malarkey. I remember doing weaving at Brownies actually, Helen, if you're still in the chat, don't know if you are, and we did it with paper and made little woven paper hearts, which were really cute. We gave them to like friends for Valentine's Day or something like that. Can't remember. I just remember doing it. I also remember making a hair scrunchie, which was fun. That was really quite satisfying, doing things like that. But yeah, cool. Well, we'll do some embroidery next time then. We'll do some red work, and then we'll move on to doing some proper embroidery. Bottoms. Less haste, more speed. I've had to go back to the middle of that row. I'm in such a rush to try and get it done. Ran a paper plate weaving session at school Monday afternoon. All 5 children made lovely little baskets. That sounds like a wonderful idea. Hats off to you and everyone else who is still going to work, who's, you know, one of our all important key workers. So much respect and love for you guys, really putting yourselves on the front line during this situation. Yeah, I think this might be the last row now, I have to say. I'm starting to carry some tension in my shoulders from doing this actually. I'm kind of sitting bolt upright when my back knows about it, and my shoulders are quite tense. So it might be a good time for me to stop soon anyway. But yeah, I may even get one more out of this. Don't know. Actually no, I want to stop so it's stopped at the same end because it's easier to deal with then. Right, there we are. So there is my little bit of weaving for tonight. You can just see how the colours are going to go. Oh yes, I saw your embroidery, Jess. It looks gorgeous, the Peter Rabbit one. Yeah, we'll do some different stitches. I'll show you some different stitches in embroidery. So I'm just gonna take my ends that I've sticky taped there, and I'm just going to be super technical at this point and just tie the ends together, just tie them off, just for the sake of keeping them together for now. Now, obviously, if you can get yourselves onto Pinterest or YouTube, and there'll be all sorts of things to show you how to finish these properly. This is just an introduction, really. Right, so there's my little bit of weaving. Say I want to get it off of my loom. Just take it off, she says, not managing to take it off at all. There you go, just release it from underneath the sticky tape. Now you could do a couple of different things with this. You can just tie it in a knot, or you can hang it over something. Hang on, let me see if I've got anything I can actually hang it over. I was really hoping for a twig or something, but I didn't get one. Right, for argument's sake, I'm going to use this massive knitting needle, and you can turn it into a bit of a wall hanging. But there you go, there it is, off the loom. And I'll worry about the other end in a minute. Sorry, I know I'm off screen and you can't actually see what I'm doing now. There we go. So you just tie it in a little bit of a knot at the top, and that's not the best way of doing it. I could have done that so much better. But you can also do it over, say, a needle or over a twig and keep it looped up together that way. Mine's gone completely wrong. That's why I did it off camera, to be honest. I didn't want you guys to see me make a total hash of it. But I made a hash of it anyway, so hooray, hooray for making a total mess of it. Sorry, there's all this beeping going on and I can't actually do anything about it, I'm afraid, guys. Right. This is the fiddly bit. I'm just going to pull it off the other end of the loom because that bit of card is really irritating me now. While I try and show you how to do this, I'm also using completely the wrong thing here. So what I'm doing is I'm using each thread. This is a perfectly imperfect way of doing it. Doing it around this knitting needle is a really bad idea. Can't do it at all. But yeah, basically I'm just tying them off around the needle. But in theory, in practice, nothing of the sort is happening. In practice, I'm making an absolute mess of it. But yeah. There is an easier way of doing this. I can't remember what it is now. But yeah. And then there's the next two. Just gonna tie these just to keep it simple. Little reef knot. It's just one of the options. You could, of course, just you can see that starting to hang on there on my makeshift hanger that I'm creating for it. There's obviously a bit more work to do. It's also starting to fall apart. But there we are. And the other thing you could do at the other end, where you've got much longer bits, is tie them together. Come on, three, come. Don't get involved with any other bits. Just tie them together, not right high up, just a little bit lower. A little reef knot there. Let's tidy that up a bit. So what you would end up with, if it didn't all fall apart like mine's threatening to, is you would end up with something that is attached at the top and then hangs beautifully at the bottom. So as I say, it's not exact science. There are tutorials for getting them off and finishing off your weaving that you can find on Pinterest. I'll see if I can link some good ones. But yeah, it's just a little piece of practice, really. You can also, the other thing that I've seen done, which I actually like less than this, is the ends trimmed, and this is more when you're doing it with children, I guess, the ends trimmed and then literally just secured to the back. So you end up just with your piece of weaving, like so. But yeah, that's it, guys. That is an introduction, a really basic introduction to weaving and making your own loom. I hope you've enjoyed yourself tonight. I will certainly look into some embroidery for next time. So straight up, that will tell me that you need some old fabric. It could be perhaps an old pair of jeans or a tote bag or any sort of bag that or fabric that you might want to upcycle or just practice your embroidery on. It doesn't have to be Ada or oh, what's the other one called? Not Ada. Actual embroidery fabric. Can't think what the name is. If you wanted to do weaving in any other way, you could do you could have a fixed loom. This is an old embroidery hoop. I don't tend to use them anymore, but you would warp it like so, just to give you a rough idea of what you would do. This is a very rough idea of what you would do. This isn't it at all. Then you would come down. I can't do it one-handed. No, not Binker. It's something else. Oh, flip. What's it called? Yeah, I haven't got the foggiest what it's called. It's gone completely. Linen. There we go, linen. That's really not a technical term at all, is it? You could say Ada was more technical. Right. So if you wanted to warp an embroidery hoop, you could do it like so. So you start like that. Dave? Who's Dave, Jules? This is a lot fiddlier to do, but anyway, you can also warp your hoop there. Right, well, I hope you've enjoyed yourselves tonight doing this little bit of loom weaving. And no, the fabric wasn't called Dave, it was linen. Hope you've enjoyed this introduction to loom weaving. I hope you are happy with the little bit of fabric you have created, and I look forward to seeing the results and what you do. Great, take care. Hope to see you again for another Monday mini make. Give me a follow if you've enjoyed yourself, and see you again soon. Stay safe. Bye.